Hi, I'm Alex McCord and welcome to The Real Deal on TheStir.com. Today we have Don't Be Tardy, Season 3, Episode 7, a look at Extreme Guide to Parenting, Episode 3, and then over to VH1's LeAnn and Eddie, Episode 6, and some very naked gossip, that is dating naked, on VH1. Are you ready? Hoi. Okay, first it's Kim Zolciak and Don't Be Tardy. Now, is anybody else confused by the schedule here? Sometimes it's on Sundays, sometimes it's on Thursdays, sometimes new episodes on both Sunday and Thursday, but this week only a new episode on Sunday. I need a drink after all that. I think Bravo needs to make up their mind. But do you know what I realized this week? With the drunk dating, car puking nanny Lana, with the Honda driving non-drunk daughter Brielle, and the advice demanding placenta drinking Jen, I finally figured out Kim's genre. She's different from the other Housewives spin-offs. It's not all about her business. It's not just about the wedding and done. It's a Will Ferrell movie. It's Bridesmaids. It's Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock, or at least it's trying to be. It's the Baby Mama movie with Tina Fey. It's that gut-busting humor, foul mouth, farting, you name it. So, viewers love that. Do you agree with me? Or is it Kim's mouth, is it so foul that the funny doesn't matter? While you ponder that, let's talk about the Extreme Guide to Parenting, Episode 3. I watched the premiere with the Gunkles and I was so turned off. I could not stomach any more of it. But I know that lots of my viewers are moms, and I'm bringing this series back to The Real Deal because you asked me to. So, Episode 3 introduces us to Marisa Eisenberg, her husband Jeff, and their pride and joy, their 4-year-old son, Austin. Oh boy, if people thought I pushed our kids, I have nothing on Marisa. I have to wonder what these people are getting out of putting their children on television, so I Googled Marisa. She is a chiropractor and a personal trainer. She has a Long Island cable TV show about fitness, owns a gym, and does segments on the Today Show and such. Okay, so continuing the pattern from Shira, the Gunkles, and the Nomads, every single parent on this show either needs to rack up TV appearances for their business or is selling something. So all the parents who join this show are exploiting their children to promote themselves. Did you notice that? I lost count of how many times the family had a discussion in Mama's gym while working out, and how many times Dad wore a gym t-shirt. Clearly, this new crop of Bravo celebrities have read the Real Housewives handbook about product placement. Not that there is one, although maybe there should be. But let's get back to Marisa. She tells her child he's the absolute best at everything, which, of course, gives the editors fair game to show every single time he misses the basket, he screws up, he says he's scared, and it makes Marisa look like an overbearing, ridiculous psychopath. Telling your child he's the best at everything makes him unable to tell what's good and what isn't. He has an inflated view of his own abilities. He might always think he's really great at everything when he's really not. Or he might discount everything his mother tells him as an adult because he cannot trust her. This brings up a Twitter question. Claire Miller said, "Why do kooks resort to tears to justify their crappy behavior?" Well, Marisa cries and says she wasn't pushed enough as a child. And a child psychologist she meets with during the episode tells her that projecting and pushing is a form of child abuse. Marisa's husband, Jeff, seems like a complete wimp until he finally hits on something. Marisa is afraid of diving, so he takes sadistic glee in calling her a hypocrite and making her dive, although it was a pretty crappy dive. Tiger Mom would not accept that dive. So viewers, what do you think? Is Marisa guilty of child abuse, or is she just a control freak who overschedules her child? And should any of these parents be allowed to exploit their children to get TV time? Next, let's jump over to VH1, and I have to tell you, unless something crazy happens, this is going to be the last week that I cover LeAnn and Eddie. Why? The ratings. They're in the toilet. Clearly, this reality show was born as TV out of revenge. My big question was whether it could fly on its own without its cast, Eddie Cibrian and LeAnn Rimes, constantly mentioning Eddie's ex, Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, Brandi Glanville, every other sentence. And the answer seems to be no, which brings up another question. Who's the fan base for this show? Their haters or their supporters? If it's the haters, no wonder they are dissatisfied and no longer watching, because as the show progresses, there are far fewer and fewer mentions of Brandi and the divorce. Also, there's been quite a lot of gossip online, fueled and fanned by LeAnn herself, over whether the storylines on the show are real or made up. Sometimes LeAnn says it's satire. Sometimes she says it's all real. Sometimes she says, of course there are things that aren't real. All of this flip-flopping makes viewers not trust her and really wonder what's going on there. In any case, this week we see doggy therapy, which Eddie thinks is baby yoga. See, and that brings up another point. The problem with Eddie is that although he may be a good actor and he's very good looking, he's not likable. Not on reality TV. He's not endearing at all. LeAnn is actually more fun to watch than Eddie. My thought when LeAnn complained about her dog Precious acting weird is that Precious probably doesn't like the camera crew. However, this is not Leah Remini or Kim Zolciak. LeAnn and Eddie do not refer to the crew. They are invisible. So Precious is being stressed out by invisible monsters. There's a commercial break cliffhanger, gotta love those, where we find out whether or not LeAnn is fertile. So I feel that this is LeAnn and Eddie's way of announcing to Brandy and the world in general that they want to have a baby, which is fine, they're allowed to do that. But my question for you is, will this show see a second season? Finally, a hilarious tidbit from Dating Naked, also on VH1. All right, when you do reality television, sometimes things you would rather keep private have to be shown. Example, on Housewives, one time they did not blur out our house number. Another time they didn't blur out our license plate. In both cases, we screamed and yelled and they fixed it. On Dating Naked, something slightly more upsetting happened. But should the cast member have been upset, or does it go with the territory? Aspiring model Jessie Nisowitz was naked on the show, as the title indicates, but they forgot to blur her privates, or perhaps they didn't blur her privates well enough. In any case, downtown was visible. So she's suing for $10 million. It also doesn't help that her date never called her again, so she got nothing out of the show. So, while VH1 should not have been sloppy with their blurring, Jessie knew she was going to be naked. There was a risk that this could happen. So do you think this is a $10 million mistake? And if Dating Naked gets a season 2, should it be written into everyone's contract that accidental boob blurring bloopers may happen? By the way, VH1 is also saying that 6 of these couples are still together and 1 is getting married. So does this mean that Dating Naked works? Tell me what you think. Let me know what you thought in the comments. For now, I'm Alex McCord. You are watching The Real Deal on thestir.com. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Have a great weekend, and I will see you Monday.